Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the hidden stories within company filings. And boy, do we have a story for you today that involves a trust, some digital assets, and a big decision about its future. Today we are diving into a Form 8K report from the Grayscale Horizen Trust, formerly known by its ticker symbol. Horizen, this report is all about significant events that companies need to report to the public right away, and this one has some interesting developments regarding the trust's operations and its digital asset, Horizen or Zen. So the first big piece of news is that the Grayscale Investment Sponsors, LLC, acting as the sponsor for this trust, has made a change to the trust financial reporting. They've shifted the fiscal year end from the 30th of September to the 31st of December. This sounds like a small administrative change, but it means that for the period starting the 1st of January 2025, the trust will operate on this new calendar year basis. They'll be filing a special report called a transition report to cover the 3 months between the old year end and the new one. It is like changing your clock forward or backward, but for accounting. Now, let's get to the really juicy part. Remember how we've talked about Grayscale evaluating certain digital assets for their viability as trust holdings? Well, this report updates us on the Grayscale Horizen Trust. Back in July, they mentioned they would be looking at things like how well the Zen tokens are being used, and if the trust makes sense to continue after Zen tokens move from an older blockchain to something called the base network. This was a pretty big deal, a migration for the digital asset itself. They've been talking with their lawyers about whether Zen might be considered a security under US law, and they've received some legal advice on that. Importantly, Grayscale doesn't currently think this migration changes their previous legal opinions. However, they acknowledge that this migration could still affect their analysis of Zen status and the overall health of the trust. They're still looking into it carefully because if Zen were deemed a security, it could be a huge problem, potentially costing the trust a lot of money or even leading to its end. But here is the main takeaway for now. Based on everything they have evaluated, Grayscale has decided to keep the Grayscale Horizen Trust going. They are not planning to shut it down at this moment. This is a decision that gives clarity to investors holding shares in this trust. It means the trust will continue its operations at least for the time being. However, they also made it clear that they might revisit this decision in the future, which is standard practice and good risk management. Now, for those who like to dig into the nitty-gritty, they've attached the official document that makes these changes to the trust agreement as an exhibit. It is called Amendment Number 4 to the Amended and Restated Declaration of Trust and Trust Agreement. Think of it as the official rulebook update for the trust. And as always with these filings, there is a digital tag file called Cover Page Interactive Data File. This is mostly for computers to read and process the information easily, but it is what makes these filings machine readable. Finally, the report is signed off by Edward McGee, who is the Chief Financial Officer and Principal Financial and Accounting Officer for Grayscale Investment Sponsors, LLC. He is signing on behalf of the sponsor, confirming that the information in this report is accurate to the best of their knowledge. So, what does this all mean? Grayscale Horizen Trust is moving forward. For now, the fiscal year change is an operational tweak, but the big story is the confirmation that the trust will continue despite the underlying digital assets migration and ongoing legal review regarding its security status. This is a sign of confidence from Grayscale, but the caveat that they might reevaluate viability in the future means investors should remain aware of the inherent risks in holding assets tied to digital currencies. The key takeaway is continued operation, but with a watchful eye on regulatory developments and the asset's adoption. Alright, that is our breakdown of the Grayscale Horizen Trust's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next time.